So, of course, a lot of talk, a lot of hype, if you will, a lot of anticipation for a new company to premiere in the Indiana area. World Finest Wrestling. You're going to be a part of some of the shows.
Right.
So go ahead and talk about World Finest Wrestling and how you feel about the buzz that the organization as it's getting ready to launch.
Well, I think it's a good look for the city of Indianapolis. When I first broke into the business back in 2009, IPW ran Indianapolis, and there was a couple other spots around the city that was putting on shows. But for me to be completely honest, IPW was running the show. So we know when they left, back in a couple of years ago, I can't remember which year, they kind of left a big void in the city, and I don't want to put down none of the other companies that's running around the area or whatnot, but it left a big hole. Some of the talent level dropped off. Some of the fans kind of gave up on the the Indianapolis wrestling scene, and it was kind of refreshing to have a company like World's Finest come in and try to, recreate some of those glory days that the city of Indianapolis had. There's been a few places that came in the last few years that didn't really last long. Not really sure what the issues was there, but 2015 is a new year. World's Finest is coming in April, and hopefully we can make it last for the long haul. And yeah, myself and Apollo, we very happy to be a part of this, this company, and look forward to competing in this tag team tournament.
So the debut show will take place on Saturday, April the 11th. The theme
Yeah.
is called Step One. It will be at the Thatcher Park, which
Right.
is located at 4649 West Vermont Street. Doors open is at 6:30 p.m. Bell time is at 7:30, and for all you adults 13 and up, that's $12. For all the kids 12 and under, that's $8. And to all our service men and women, whether it's military, firefighters, EMTs, and police with identification, you are in for free. Um,
Right.
so, how are you feeling about this debut show? Um, it's a jam-packed lineup. There's going to be a lot of tournaments and some
Yeah.
championships being up for grabs, and it's a nice way to get the buzz going, especially having some championships pursuits, if you will.
Absolutely, man. I think it's a good way to jump off the spring. It's a new company, new opportunities, new challenges for a lot of these people, and and for a lot of the wrestlers coming in for the show, it's probably their first time competing in Indianapolis. So the fans get to witness new wrestlers that they've never seen before. As far as myself and Apollo, we feel like we got a good chance to win these tag team titles. No disrespect to Revelation or Chase and Jack or to the horror show or whatnot. But I feel like we got a good chance to win, man. Me and Apollo, we've been riding together for quite some time. You know, People around Indianapolis know our group as the Circle City Collabo. They call us the Triple C's, man. Myself, Apollo Star, Drew Skills, Trevor Court. So honestly, within our group, everybody's interchangeable. But at this certain event, myself and Apollo, we're going to get together. We're going to win these titles. We're going to bring more belts to the collabo. But we're going to have some fun, man, because we're in our hometown, Indianapolis. We live here. I live on the west side. Apollo lives on the north side. We run this city, and we're going to make sure that everybody that come to the show have a great time, and they're going to buzz about it for days to come, man. And once the next show gets posted, we're going to keep the momentum going, man. That's the goal. Everybody wants to contribute, and everybody wants to see this thing last. So hopefully April 11th will show us a lot, man, and we'll get the ball rolling.
It's definitely a joy when a wrestler or an athlete gets a chance to perform in front of his or hers hometown, birthplace, things like that. Do you feel like there's some added pressure for you and Apollo competing in front of the home crowd, like any more pressure, you think?
I don't think it's really a lot of pressure. Uh, Honestly, I think we both would be excited, because we do know a lot of the faces out in the crowd. Some of the people in the crowd might be our family, our friends, or whatnot. So we're gonna try to put on the best show possible. We're gonna try to have the best match of the night, and I feel like honestly, being in Indianapolis gives us a little bit of an advantage. So we're gonna use that advantage to our, the best of our abilities, and we're gonna try to win these titles, man. But I don't really believe there's a lot of pressure on us. There's pressures on the other teams, and they got to prove to Indianapolis that they belong here because me and Apollo have already done that. So pressure's on them.
Again, be on the lookout for World Finest Wrestling event Step 1, Saturday, April the 11th, a few weeks away. If you are anywhere near the Indianapolis area, please check this out. And this is one thing I love to say as far as interviews is concerned. Whether you're a fan of Pro or WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, please promote or support your local indie pro wrestling company. You have a company, World Fighters Wrestling, that's getting started. They really want to make an impact in the Indianapolis area, and to have a big crowd for a show of this magnitude would mean a lot to these guys, such as Remi and Apollo and Ken and Brett and Samantha and many others that's going to be a part of this event. So please
Right.
support your local indie companies, and please, if you're in the Indianapolis area, support these people April the 11th, and you can check them out at World Finance Indiana on Facebook for all the details, and I will be interviewing some of their wrestlers throughout the coming weeks leading up to April the 11th. So what I want to ask you, Remy, is exactly what made you decide to become a wrestler?
Well, I've always wanted to do it. Even as a child, I was always a fan first. There were days when I was growing up where, my entire family, we all got together. We watched all the wrestling shows that came on TV. We watched all the pay-per-views from the WWF at that time. It's WWE now, but going back to, old school WCW, old school New Japan, old school AWA, we always wanted to do it. And when I was in high school, man, I kind of jumped off the wrestling bandwagon for a little bit. My focus was on football and going to college and whatnot. So, once I went to college and graduated, got my degree and stuff, and I was kind of situated with my life, I figured, hey, I'm still pretty young. Why not give it a shot? So that was right around the time where I started going to the local shows here in Indianapolis. Wrestling is the company that I used to go to a lot, and I used to watch these guys. Coming in, I would go in at the first of the month, or the first Saturday of the month. They had guys like Drake Younger and Sammy Callahan and John Moxley, Billy Rock, guys like that, showing out every month. So I took an opportunity to go talk to one of the bookers and one of the guys I was running the show, and he gave me Billy Rock's name. So, once I got in contact with Billy Rock, he gave me a tryout, and he accepted me into his wrestling school, man. And that was one of the happiest days of my life because I got a chance to start training so I could live out a dream of mine that I've had for quite a while. So once we got into the school, man, it was pretty much all she wrote. I got involved. I started training, and once Billy Rock released me from the school, man, it was I've been taking bookings ever since and getting better and better with each match, man. So I would have to say at a very young age, man, I was always a fan first. And so when I had my opportunity, I took it.
Well, that's definitely great to hear. Sometimes there's wrestlers out there that they talk about how much they love wrestling and how they appreciate wrestling, but they don't learn from the history of wrestling. They don't learn from the trailblazers that paved the way so people like themselves can pursue their dream. And
Right.
to hear that from you and how much appreciation you have for the sport that you are doing speaks volumes. It speaks that there is a sense of care for people, for this industry. people tend to think there's always, with wrestling, it gets scrutinized, staged or not staged, over the top characters, soap opera, things like that. But there are some good people that, and let's be real, just because you see someone on TV, it doesn't mean that if you see them in the middle of the street, they're going to be that character. They're going to be themselves. And I respect you, Remi, for your appreciation towards that business. And I'm speaking to you as a fan. I'm a fan myself. I've been a fan since the 1990s, before the Attitude Era. And I've grown to love and appreciate wrestling uh, even more. I do have my issues with it as far as people and backstabbing and the politics, but I still appreciate wrestling for and wrestlers for what they do and for what they
Yeah.
are willing to do to put their bodies on the line so that they can entertain a fan like myself. And I know the pain is not that good when when the match is over, but just to see the smile on fans' faces and the kids' faces, that has to be worth it, does it?
Yeah, it's definitely worth it, man, because if you think about it, that's what it's all about. Giving the fans a good show. The fans, the people that go to work every day, 8 to 5, 9 to 5, working overtime on the weekends, when they get a chance to come to a show and they buy a ticket, it's your job as the performer to give them a show. And you're right, man, there is a bunch of people in this industry that don't really care too much about wrestling. They just in it for the glory. And if they're able to achieve glory, that's great, but after that, then what? There's no appreciation for it. So, guys like myself and Apollo, man, we're students of the game. We didn't just jump in, grab some knee pads and some boots and say, hey, we're going to do this. We actually had an interest in it before. I grew up in the 80s. So, like you just said, I was a fan before the Attitude Era. I was a fan back when Demolition and Powers of Pain was running the joint, when Jake the Snake was on top, Randy Savage was in his prime. That's the days I remember. But that's the days that started me. I can honestly say if I was born in the 90s or born around the Attitude Era, I don't know if I would have the same appreciation for the pro wrestling industry. So I feel like being an active competitor in this business, it's important that we protect it. And it's important that we give the fans a reason to want to come back, a reason to want to keep buying tickets, and a reason to keep, spending their Saturdays and Fridays and Sundays with us instead of doing other things. So we got to protect the business, man, and we got to make sure the fans keep coming back.
There are fans like myself that do appreciate wrestling as not just as a sport, but for the art and just the storytelling. And it's kind of like movies and music and comedy. It speaks to us. It's relatable. You can
Yep.
look at a storyline, you can look at an angle and be like, wow, that's something I used to went through with certain so on or things of that nature. And then I want to ask you about a group of people. These
Sure.
people I feel like they give wrestling a bad name. They are considered as marks. People that be all over social media, all over the blogs, and saying things like that and just talking bad or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
and it's understandable. Wrestling, like everything else, you're not gonna
Yeah.
please everybody. People may not fully understand this wrestling at hand, and that's
Yeah.
fine. But these are athletes, okay? These are
Yeah.
athletes. These people do things that athletes of other sports can't do or wish they can do. I guess I might as well say both in that regard. But how do you feel about the quote-unquote marks? And what's your take on those group of people?
Well, as a performer in this business, man, we try not to use the word mark too much because obviously it's a term that's, I don't know, it's kind of offensive to some of the people that try to be smart with it, try to act like they know everything about their business and whatnot. From my take, the way I see it, that's when it changes, man. It's definitely evolved from the times that I was growing up and whatnot. And yeah, a lot of people that's around my age or older, whatnot, they pretty much know the tricks of the trade. They know what's going on, and they expect something totally different than what they normally see. So as far as the people that's standing behind their keyboards and making comments about certain guys and gals, I say prerogative, man. We don't really pay too much attention to the marks. We just go out there and we do what we do. We do what we were trained to do. We go out there, we put on a show. Like you just said, you can't please everybody. Some people they're fans of one person or they're fans of a couple of guys. They'll buy a ticket just to see certain people, and then they'll, pretty much put down everybody else. And, hey, they buy a ticket. That's their prerogative, man. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't really get into it with the smart people, with the marks and whatnot. I just do my thing. I take my bookings. If I'm not booked, no big deal. Somebody's going to book me. And that's the way we keep it moving, man. We can't feed into that, man, because it's going to bring the whole industry down. And it's going to put a dark cloud over the pro wrestling, and that's what we don't want. So we let some people have their day, man, but I guarantee if the tables was turned, they probably couldn't do not even a third of the percent of stuff that we do. So let them have their little thing, and, we'll continue to do ours.
Well said, Remi. Well said. So outside of World Finest Wrestling, you have any, upcoming other shows that you'd like to promote, man?
Absolutely, man. Tomorrow night, Valparaiso, Indiana. We'll be up at Smash Mouth Pro Wrestling. We got a nice show headlined by Drew Skills taking on future WWE Hall of Famer Bushwhacker Luke. He'll be in the house tomorrow night. They the main event for the strap. Myself, I'll be taking on Colin Cambridge for the North American title. That's tomorrow night in Valparaiso, Indiana. Next Friday, we'll be in Goshen, Indiana at Strong Style Wrestling. It's myself versus Ring of Honor star Tommaso Ciampa to a special guest referee, Mike Smith. He's the owner of Strong Style Wrestling, and me and him are not seeing eye to eye right now, so that should be an epic match and a pretty good event. That following day, Saturday, March 20th, myself and my other tag team partner, Trevor Court, collectively known as the Alpha Breed, we are heading over to Proving Ground Pro, Central Illinois, to take part in their tag team tournament as well. So that's a couple shows that we got on deck for the next couple weeks. You get a chance to check those out. Hop on Facebook, hop on Twitter. I'm sure you can follow me and get on my page and find out every show that we got coming up. There's a lot of good wrestling going on in the Indiana area, Illinois, Ohio areas. So when you get a chance, man, like you said, support your local wrestling companies. Go out and buy a ticket. Take your family. Enjoy the show. If it's an adult show, grab some drinks and just have a good time, man. Let us do our thing. Let us entertain you. And if you like what we do, come back.
And before I let you go, man, you pointed out social media. Why don't you go ahead and promote your links, how people can keep in touch with you?
All right, to get in touch with me, you can find me on Facebook under Remi Wilkins. That's R-E-M-I Wilkins, W-I-L-K-I-N-S. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Remi_Wilkins. If there are any companies out there that might want to book me, you can reach me at RemiWilkins@gmail.com.
All right, Remi, I'm going to go ahead and let you go, man. Thank you so much for calling in. And everybody, please check out World Finest Wrestling, April the 11th at the Thrasher Park. And Remi's going to be in action alongside with Apollo as part of the Tag Team Title Tournament. It's a new company. Please go out there and support. And Remi, again, thank you for being on the show. Truly appreciate it, and continued success, man.
Not a problem, man. Thanks for having me.
You have a good night.
Too.
That was Remi Wilkins.